everybody, I am on for the midweek message reveal Wednesday. I was going to say January, June 26th. You know, in some space and time it actually could be January, couldn't it? Doesn't it feel like this year has just gone by in the blink of an eye, and at the same time has been a slow dredge and a slog, and then at the same time a complete parallel universe where you don't know what the frig year it is. Okay, so if you feel me, I think we're all in the same playing field. Forgive the extremely loud air conditioning noises. It is super hot, as you know, across everywhere. How have you been since the solstice and the moon last week? How have you seen a change in some of the energy within yourself and the things that you're able to tap into? Have you seen that shift? Because the messages last week were very much about aligning you to your specific brand of awakening, awareness, of opening, and that looks different for everybody. So curious how that landed for you there. All right. As far as what's going on energetically this week, within the next 3 days, we have the moon is squaring Jupiter. And Jupiter is a planet of luck and ingenuity. It expands in a level of awareness and good fortune and good positive energy behind it with it, whatever it interacts with. And with the influence of the moon is going to connect to our emotional selves, to our landscape, our nurturing selves. Where we are in receptions mode and where we are looking to receive and where we are nurtured and nurture ourselves in an inner child sense as well. So combining here with Jupiter's energy, we have a beautiful portal of time here over the next 72 hours that's going to allow us to really tap into our true manifestation powers. Things are going to be a little bit easier. Now, if you are a Pisces, a Sag, or a Cancer, and that would be in Sun, Moon, and Rising, any of those combos, it's going to be a bit more intense for you over the next 72 hours. But it's not intense in a bad way, it's just maybe more exhilarating, or there's more emo feels behind it, or it's more exciting. Something like that is going to be a bit more and amplified for you in that realm. And that's going to help jumpstart you and get you on a different level of frequency so you can be at the level of the things that you're wanting to bring into your experience because you've done the work. And that's essentially how this life thing goes. You start to see how you are part of things, you aren't just the receiver, you are also the initiator, you are the creator. And that energy is really big right now. And that's going to be the kind of the focus here with the cards. Okay? So please, just a little plug here, feel free to reach out. Would love to work with you. So if you're interested in readings with me, we can delve deeper for what these things mean for you and what it looks like in your personal blueprint of your astrology chart and the things that you're looking to accomplish are some of the things I like to do for custom readings. So please feel free to reach out here. Blah, 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 blah. I would love to hear from you. Okay, and my communication situation is much better, so we don't need to worry about that. You can contact me on my website, or you can message me, or whatever you like to do. Okay, so I'm going to jump into the cards. If you chose one, your card is Dark Matter. These cards are wild. I'm just going to show you the bottom. The spectral cosmos and the blue butterfly over the mouth. This is a 38, which is going to be an 11. That's awesome, because 11s are double manifestation. What's going on with you, one? Not surprised that we have one, and it says Mystery, Dark Matter down here at the bottom. You're moving through a different portal. This portal is similar to something that you experienced. Sorry, I gotta pause. Something that you experienced when you were seven or eight. When you were 7 or 8, there's a feeling that's kind of coming up, connecting you back to that time period. And that 7 or 8-year-old self, now, you know, that might be a bigger span there, but it's more specific for a smaller group of people who chose one. It's connecting you back to a space where you didn't have the words to articulate how it was that you felt about something that went down, or a topic, or a situation. It's more about how you felt. And you're having an opportunity now in your own experience, especially within your inner circle, and also within interpersonal and romantic relationships, I'm hearing that connection is kind of coming through again, where the same sort of soup of emotions is coming to the surface, and you're able now to kind of go, oh, now I know how to talk about how this feels so I can communicate my needs better. You're working through your own sludge, essentially, one, and it's paying off. It's almost like you didn't totally buy it, that you needed to really work on these communication skills, and that you needed to kind of, sit with your shit, as it is said, and I have said, and many of people's will say, moving forward forever, that you are repeatedly coming back down and sitting with yourself and your said shit and going through it and essentially trying to see the patterns and the connections. And the connections are coming so much clearer now for you, one. You have reached the point where you are releasing yourself from the chrysalis, the wings are dry, the metamorphosis is complete, and you're coming through this with a different level of power and perspective than you had before. So what you're looking to bring into your experience, which is tied to those feelings you weren't able to articulate from like the younger sort of adolescent-ish, I would say 7 to 8, which might be more like 6 to 10-ish age range, where there was a emotion, something bigger than you that was a deep feeling that you were unable to really articulate, you're able to speak on now. And it might come through actually in younger people in your experience as well. And that might it's my nose itch, so that makes me feel like that's a yes. So let's go ahead and see what that is. I would love to hear about that. So please give me some feedback on that for you in one. All right, moving on to 2. If you chose 2, your card is the Equator. I'm so like drawn to the contrast. It's almost like that's the only thing that seems to matter here. And also the fact that this orb, which is I believe to be, the Earth, but I see it more as a planet, is kind of resting on her hand. And the Equator being to make equal, I think it's interesting that it's the Equator and not like the equalizer to make equal. And we of course have 2 female presenting figures who are of completely different skin types, but at the same time have very similar features, body types, hair, so on and so forth. It's almost as if the entity is distilled down just to its duality, and that's the message here. There's been a lot of emotions around a topic that has been repeatedly argued about or brought up or discussed. And it's emotional. It has these ties because you feel very strongly about it. It has something to do with something that you worked really hard on, something that you're trying to show your effort, and you're unable to see the other perspective of the other party, the other person, because you're having such a hard time making sure that you're saying what you're really feeling. So again, this kind of ties back a little bit to communication with card 1. So some of you chose multiple cards, be interested to see how that lines up. But it's more you are working through identifying yourself and your need for perspective by seeing that you are unable to see someone else's. Conversely, therefore, understanding what the other person is also experiencing because they're unable to get you to see what they're saying. And it's that converse situation that is causing this teeter-totter of energy, where some days things feel good and some days things don't. And then there has to be some sort of upheaval or change or something that has occurred that requires the energy of both parties to kind of get into it on another level. This is where you need to mend fences here too. This is where you need to kind of meet in the middle and drop it, because what it's over is not what you think is over. It's like an ego thing that you're just kind of beating the drum of this thing, and it won't go away because you won't stop talking about it or thinking about it or allowing it into your experience. And my nose is just so I'm not trying to be insensitive here, and please understand. It's more you don't know what you don't know, and now you have new information. And you can change your reactions around that, knowing that the other person was just trying to understand what you were saying, where you're also trying to understand what they are saying, but you couldn't flip-flop it. So this duality, this tit for tat, this communication error, the feeling that, you know, we're kind of off and not in alignment is very much in line with 5, which has to do with new beginnings, and also have to do with like things shutting down and restarting, or things needing to take a different path, or the trajectory has shifted. So if you're feeling that happening, follow that and allow that to happen. Don't hold on to it, and don't stay so much in the black and white. It's really not, it's not black and white, it's a both and. It's everything. It's not just about the one issue. Okay, I know it's a little convoluted. I feel that landed though for people who chose that card. All right. Essentially, if you want something to change too, you have to remove yourself from participating and beating the drum of the problem that is between the two of you. Like, put it down. Okay. All right, and 3. If your card is 3, your card is Marine Life. Taking it just way out on the west side here. What do we got here? This is a 32, which is also a 5. So this is also going to have group 3 dealing with changes and beginnings and trajectory shifts. See the character here in the center with the hand over the mouth. Connections again to being in an emotional state by being literally underwater. Now, Marine Life, very indicative of Pisces energy, which is one of the affected groups of this transit here with the moon square Jupiter, as I mentioned before. And what's interesting as well is that Cancerian energy, which is the mothering womb, is the underwater cavern, also greatly affected during Cancer season. So if it's going to be a very emotional thing that you're experiencing, but what you're experiencing is literally the richness. You're in a state of gratitude for what you're going through, and you're kind of receiving an energetic windfall of stuff that's coming through. The hope that you've been looking for, the motivation, the giving of fucks that you haven't been able to find them. Where are they? Where is my bucket? You have found it, and you have some in there, and it is a good day. And that is kind of what you've been hoping for. It's just the simpleness of getting to that point. And this is all because you've been doing a lot of inner work on starting to really feel your feelings and understand that your feelings are not something that someone has done to you. It's not something that's bad. It's more that you have got to get some of this funk out of your system, and you can't do that, and therefore it's polluting the waters. This richness is now capable and possible because the ecosystem of your energy is now cleansed and in a state where change can happen, and change can happen in a way that doesn't have to be tumultuous. That's the thing that you get to let go of. It's the story that any change in your life has to be negative or has to be catastrophic or really stressful. So that story gets to change, and that's the most beautiful thing about you guys here in 3. All right. So those are the messages this week. Would love to hear how they land for you, so please leave me some feedback. As I mentioned earlier, I am working on doing actually custom readings and things like that. So that would be a process that we can talk about with one another, is how we'd like to spend our time together. I also have a lot of different options on my website, so please feel free to reach out and we can talk about that. Check me here. And just know that you're in a lucky pocket. And when you're feeling a little low, try and shift your energy, because you're kind of wasting the good vibe of the time. It's not to say that you can't feel what you feel, but you can choose to feel something a little bit better. And maybe if all you can say is that I want to feel a little bit better a minute from now than I did right here, then you can just keep moving that forward and forward. And I hope that you are feeling your best. All right. Have a wonderful week. Peace.